Hi all, and welcome back to Puzzle Streak Ladder. So, in the last session, we reached a score of 40. Today, we're starting at 1893, and let's get straight into the first puzzle. So, this one, yes, the first thing I notice is that the bishop is aiming directly at his king. Obviously, there are no checks here. Um, but something even better I notice is that the knight can actually jump to d4. Um, So the knight jumps to d4, attacking both queen and the bishop. The queen can step over here, I guess. And do we have anything there? I don't think so. Hmm. Because any way to distract the queen is not going to work. Maybe f5 actually. Um, f5 could work actually. Yeah, I think it must be knight to d4. After, for example, queen to g4, we have f5, and if he takes the pawn with his e pawn, um, then the queen gets an attack on the bishop as well. Yeah, I think that must be it. And if the queen steps to h5, we first have g6 and then f5. So there's really no escape for the queen. F5 is going to come regardless. So I think we can play that. Okay, I didn't anticipate this move actually. To be honest, I should have, but here we just have the fork. So let's go ahead and do that. And we win. Let's turn off, jump to next puzzle immediately. Okay. Um, Rook's defending here. Um, First move that comes to mind is pawn takes, then maybe rook takes, and I don't see anything. Aha. Okay. Wait. Pawn takes, rook takes, and then rook takes. Right? Removing the defender of the rook. And regardless of how white's going to take back on f2, we have queen takes c3 regardless, and I believe it's checkmate, regardless of what white does, regardless of how they recapture back on f2. So pawn takes. The only other possibility I see is maybe f3. Actually, f3 might be a decent refutation. Um, f3. What do I do there? Hmm. Yeah, I think f3 refutes it. So pawn takes f3. Maybe queen takes rook at that point. Is that winning? Could be. So let's calculate that. Pawn takes f3. Queen takes rook on h3. King takes on h3. Rook to h5. King has to go back, and then pawn takes. Hmm, that can't be good. King takes back, and then he's escaping. Hmm. Queen takes rook immediately on h3. Doesn't make sense. I think it has to be h takes g3. I'm just not able to see the exact follow-up after f3. Maybe we just cash out and just move the queen away somewhere normal. But that can't be it. White's b pawn looks dangerous. Okay. H takes G. F3. What do we have there? Queen takes rook. King takes. Aha. Maybe there's G2 in that situation. That could be winning actually. I think it is. Because rook here then is unstoppable. I think. I think that's it. H takes G3. Um F F3 and then queen takes, king takes, and then G2. If he tries to defend like that, we have rook H3. I think that's it. Yep. I'm pretty confident when this is the first move anyway. I don't think anything else is working. So let's play that. Okay, he does take. Um but I like we didn't look at this, but it's pretty obviously losing. I did see this. Rook takes and you know this rook is gonna be lost the next move. King's overloaded. So yeah, that was a pretty good puzzle. Let's just confirm what I calculated. So if he takes like this, oh, actually, yeah. Um, if he takes like that, there's this move, and we're checkmating. What happens if f3? Yep, queen takes, and then g2 is winning. That's a pretty nifty calculation. Okay, nice puzzle. Hey, this one. So just like immediately, um, I notice that we can win a rook with bishop takes h7, and then after king takes h7, we take the rook. But then there is the problem that queen can take on e5. So it probably isn't that. Um, what other options do we have? I'm also thinking about potential discoveries with the knight because the queen is exited, but I don't really see the possibility for that either. At least not right now. Bishop takes h7. King goes here. That's well and good because then we have the knight discovery. But if king takes, hmm, takes, we take, he takes, and actually we do win the knight here. Yeah, I didn't calculate far enough, but we do win the knight. I think that's more than enough, and that's a completely forced line. I don't think we need to calculate that much. I don't think we need to look at alternatives. Just bishop takes h7. King takes h7 is forced because of king h8. Knight to f7. So king h7. Um, queen takes rook, and queen takes on e5, and then queen takes on e7. Yeah, I think that's winning. Let's play it. Okay, over here, I believe. Okay, I didn't calculate this, but must be a way out of it. So it's attacking the knight, and also a queen at the same time. So we just trade. I think that's fine. Trading should be fine with up in exchange after all. Okay, next one. So obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is queen takes on e6, forking the king and the bishop. But then we have to reckon with queen takes on f2. Are we realistically worried about queen takes f2? Queen takes f2. We just hide the king, and like he can't play queen to f4 at that point because like our queen's going to be on e5. So he's not going to have any checks, and he also doesn't have any checks on the back rank because of the bishop. Only problem I see now is actually the bishop will be hanging, which could be an issue. Let's just recalculate. So I believe queen takes e6 is the critical move. Queen takes e6, and this puzzle is just about proving that black doesn't really have anything. So queen takes e6. I assume rook to d7 because otherwise, like I'm going to take the bishop with check. So queen takes e6, rook f7. We take on e5. He takes on f2, and after the king moves, the rook's going to be able to take b3, which is a bit annoying. We'll actually be down material at that point. Well, our queen's attacked here, so I really don't see anything else we can do. Moving it anywhere apart from e6 is just going to be complete like destruction because queen takes f2. So I'm pretty sure queen takes d3 is the first move. Let's just play it. Yeah, the rook blocks. Aha, and now I actually see bishop to f5. Yeah, bishop to f5 wins. Um, bishop to f5. We're threatening the rook. This bishop's still under attack, and we've also blocked off the rook's attack to f2. I think that's the move. And we save our bishop. Yeah, let's just play it. He takes, we can take back at this point, pretty sure. Yeah. So I, for some reason, I didn't see bishop to f5. Um, this is a 2016 rated puzzle. I didn't see bishop to f5 instantly. Thought we had to take the bishop, but yeah. Um, just you know that queen takes has to be the correct move. There's absolutely nothing else. So doing that and having the board vision after that is going to help you quite a bit. So yeah, another endgame puzzle. Um, hmm, Pawn's pretty close to promotion. I believe the way to win this is to move the king and threaten threaten to promote, but then he has rook here, and he's going to sacrifice his rook for the pawn, and then these two connected pass pawns are mo are um completely going to dominate his rook. So actually, I believe the correct answer here is to first give a check, and after the king moves anywhere really, we go king to b2. Yeah, and that should win because even if he tries to block at that point, I believe we block with our rook, and if he continues to give checks, we can just like stroll down this path, and he's gonna eventually run out of checks because we can just keep moving the king diagonally to the point where eventually it's going to be directly diagonal to the rook. Yeah, I believe that is the way to win this endgame. I think I've had this endgame in an actual game, um, or something very close to it, but. Yeah, I believe rook here is the correct move. And now at this point, we move our king out and we solve the puzzle. Okay, um, we got a couple of 2000 rated puzzles here. It's pretty good. And we're solving them pretty well. We're at 45 now, and puzzles are going to get quite a bit harder from here on out. Um, I believe my best score could be maybe 55 or 60. So let's try and beat that. And yes, see you in the next part.